issue, but I'm about to address that. All right, yeah. I suppose we should start now because you only have until 8 o'clock, right?
It's recording.
Good evening, this is George.
Hi, Mr. Tate.
Good evening. All right. Yes,
Good evening.
we'll begin. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the meeting. If we could just have Ms. Cunningham just state her presence for the, please.
I'm here. I also just wanted to flag that I'm joined by my Assistant Commissioner, Ubemi Okutiro. He's on the line as well. He's on the call.
Hello, folks. Good evening. Can you guys hear me? I hope you can. Oh, hi.
Yes,
How are
we
you
can
all?
hear you. Okay.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here today.
You guys are very important to us. And, we try to work with you guys as much as we can. And we do our best to respond as quickly as we can to the issues in your community. To the extent that if there's an area, of course, where there's some challenges, please let me know, let Teresa know, and we'll mobilize what we can to respond as quickly as we can. Okay, but I'm going to listen. So I'm here. Thank you very much for having me.
Great, thank you. Now, just so I can just be reminded, how long are you guys able to be here with us today?
Unfortunately, I'm not really feeling too well. So, and we actually have another appointment around 8 o'clock. So to the extent that we can, if it's okay, that we can dock out at that point in time, that would be great. But we can give some grace, depending again on the kind of discussions we're having. So maybe a grace of maybe by 8:45. I'm sorry, 8:45. Yeah, 8:15. Sorry, if you can allow us to dock, that would be great.
Yeah, that sounds great. Sounds great. Okay, with that said, see, we have a few members on tonight. I know that there was a request to have Ms. Cummings or anyone from sanitation to join us today to address some issues, persistent issues. Is anyone ready to communicate any of those issues tonight? Could you raise your hand, please? Mr. Tate?
Yes. Okay. Good evening again. Okay, I did. I'm happy to say that I did turn in a couple of issues to Miss Cunningham, and then when they had, I spoke to her and to Mr. I don't want to bunch up your name, sir, but at the town hall that we met, we spoke, and the same night when I came back, I saw it was funny. There were two cars that were towed from here. The same night when I came in that night. So I say yes, I'm glad to see that is working. But again, there's some other issues aside from that. There's still a lot of people parking at the fire hydrants, and even now, as we speak, there was so I don't know if there's a truck park on Farragut Road between East 43rd and Troy Avenue. It's been there for like a week now, so I know it must be interfering with the cleaning up of the street. It's like a parking trucks. It has an address of somewhere on Nostrum Avenue. So, but I could take a picture and send it to Miss Cunningham since I have your cell, or send it to CV17. But it's been parked right there, and it's basically blocking part of the hydrant, plus taking up 3 spaces.
Okay, I can definitely follow up on that. But just
Yeah.
I think in general, generally speaking, with regard to the hydrant and stuff, that is something that you should also flag for like NYPD traffic. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously we're, we're able to write a summons like that, but our concern is primarily, related to street cleaning. But happy to ask them to take a look.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Tate, thank you. Could you put your hand down, please?
Yeah. It was ready to do that.
Ms. Cunningham, in regards to Church Avenue and Kings Highway, um, man or the person that was um, selling or storing his fruits in the way of pedestrian traffic. You get a chance to look into that?
Where exactly is this? I'm sorry. I know we did
I
an
did
operation.
Church
Sorry.
Avenue, yeah,
Yes.
Church Avenue and Kings Highway.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I sent you an
There you go.
email. There, we had a big operation
Yes, we
following
did.
that. Hold on one second. Let me just pull up the email. But I did respond with pictures and everything. Hold on. Sorry, I just wanted to be able to read from the email. So yeah, I sent you a follow-up on April 25th because we had went out there, we escalated it to our enforcement team, and they went there, they spoke to the building. There were definitely a significant amount of issues that were there. Violations were issued, and they also confiscated 6,000 pounds of food because of the different violations that were observed. One thing that was an immediate concern that I actually copied the district manager as well as Miss Lyons because I asked you guys to reach out to Department of Buildings as well as FDNY and Department of Health because of the conditions that our team saw. Which I did send pictures of, but one of the major concerns was that the location had illegally extended the building line of the property, and at the time there was electrical wiring that was exposed, which was pretty dangerous. But with regard to the picture that you had initially sent me of the pallets and the stuff like that, all of that was taken from them, and of course the rules and everything was explained to them about how they should be operating. We also had a cleanup crew that was dispatched to the location so they can clean up some of the debris because there was a lot of, from confiscating that amount of food, which they, were not selling properly or appropriately. There was a lot of leftover debris and stuff like that, and so our crew that was assigned that day was able to address that stuff. And of course, our team in general is going to be, continue to take appropriate action. Um, but if it hasn't happened already, I definitely would encourage you guys to reach out to Department of Buildings, Fire, and Department of Health because there were some significant issues that were observed there.
Wow, that's pretty extensive. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Uh, man, all that food. It's a tragedy.
I mean,
But
generally we donate it. I don't know if it was donated in this particular instance, but usually when we have vendor enforcement like that, we do try to donate it because, of course, the waste is, we're definitely about sustainability whenever possible. But yeah, in this case, that was a significant amount of food that was taken.
Yeah,
all
if I
right.
may just, let me just maybe jump in very quickly, just to add to what Supervisor Cunningham just mentioned. It is true that ordinarily, especially if the food is cooked, or it's been altered in any which way, shape, or form, we got to compost that food, right? However, if these are fruits that are still wholesome, that you can still, those are donated. But any cooked or cut fruit or any, of that kind of stuff on this spot, we will take it and compost it, just to add some little flavor to what she shared.
Yeah, that makes sense. Appreciate that. I see that we have Ms. We have a hand raise. Selka.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Next week, Monday. On Mondays, we usually have our the pickup for regular all the garbage, compost and everything. So on the holidays, I realize sometimes the folks on the block, they're not sure what to do. Especially now that we're doing the compost. So when should we put out the garbage containers for those?
So everything should be put out that evening, the evening of the holiday. So generally you would put it out on Sunday, so the day before, but this would be after the holiday for collection beginning Monday evening.
Monday evening, okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Great. Is there anyone that would like to raise their hand to speak on any issues? So, Martina Pashy, I see that you joined us. Open.
Hi, Miss Cunningham. It's Miss Quashi. How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing good. This Saturday, I had some visitors, some youth on Saturday decide to come from Albany Avenue, I guess from Pathmark, and decide to go joyriding on a shopping cart and decided to deposit the shopping cart in front of on the side on Farragut Road of my house and leave the shopping cart by the tree in front of on the side of my house. And
Okay. Is it still there?
no, I put a ticket in.
Okay.
This morning, because I didn't notice it on Sunday because I wasn't feeling well. And then when I went back and looked at the camera, I saw what they did, and I put the pictures there. So Sanitation could see that they went joyriding with the shopping cart from Pathmark. And they also decided to jump on people's car hoods while they were at it and take pictures of themselves. But what would happen if I hadn't put a ticket in and the supervisor walked by and they saw the shopping cart there? Because if I go on vacation and something like that happens, what would a supervisor have done?
I mean, if we had, a cleaning crew in the area, then he could potentially, relay it to them to remove. But I assume your question is more so, would you get like ticketed for that?
Yes.
I don't believe so because I mean, a shopping cart is not something that, we would presume that a homeowner would have put on their property like that.
Okay.
That's not like, yeah, I don't think that that you would have received the summons for that.
Okay. Okay. Just checking. And the other issue, the common driveways. Not everyone is putting their garbage in the dumpster, the garbage bins. So what's happening with that situation?
Yeah, we've heard from a couple of residents that that's the case. I think there's a little bit of challenge in identifying whose property is who from the back of the house. But it is something that we flagged for our chiefs in Brooklyn North, so they're supposed to be looking into it.
Because it's not helping with the rat situation at all.
hmm
And the possums, and the squirrels, and the raccoons.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
I'll certainly circle back with them and re-up the concern, but it is something that I personally shared with them. But I will circle back with them and see if there's an update.
Okay, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Ms. Martinez, hi, see if your hand raised.
Yes, good evening. Teresa, I'd like to ask you, do you just handle CD17 or other boards?
No, I wish.
Oh, and one reason I ask you is because, when I was walking around with the tax lien sale, it's East 26th Street between Flatbush and Foster. That street is absolutely dirty. I understand from residents, there is no alternate side cleaning, no enforcement ever, and there's always garbage, including, car repair, everything. I mean, we found that when walking around with the council member, there's an engine on the ground. I mean, it's just the curbs are very dirty and the cars never move. They're all broken down.
Okay, I can flag that. East 26th Street between Flatlands and Foster.
Flatbush and Foster.
Oh, Flatbush. Okay, got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Foster. Thank you.
Anyone else have any issues that they would like to get discussed? I know that we had talked about making sure that we tried to have Ms. Cunningham here before the summer break. So I want to make sure that whatever questions we have, we get them out. And they're only able to be here until 8:15. So we only have less than half an hour to go.
Hi, this is Leonie Logan. If you can hear me, Ms. Cunningham, good evening. My block is East 40 between Farragut and Glenwood Roads. And I remember a few years ago, I had asked to have my block put on surveillance when it was alternate parking to get enforcement done. I understand and I realize it's not something that I can have, 24/7. But it's very frustrating because people still, even after COVID, they're still not moving their vehicles and they're not going to come out and take a broom and sweep. I have not seen an enforcement person on my block in years. And I'd like to see if something can be done.
Okay, so
Okay,
let
you
me
said
maybe
East
jump in.
40th?
East
Sorry, I
40,
Go,
just want to.
Teresa.
yeah, East 40 between Farragut and Glenwood Roads. We're the next
Okay,
block.
I can add you. We had East 43rd between Foster
There
and
you go.
Farragut on the list and a couple of others, but I actually do not have that block on the list, so we can add it. That's not a
Please
problem.
do. Thank you.
Miss Cunningham,
Yes, hi.
Monica McCain Brown, good evening and welcome again. In terms of what Miss Leonie Logan just spoke about, on my block also, we have that same problem. And I think I did mention it before. Brooklyn between Avenue D and Clarendon, in terms of moving, parking in the hydrants, etc. I know the hydrant piece again is something with the police department, but the parking and not moving vehicles is something too that if you can look into that for us. Brooklyn between
Sure. Brooklyn between Avenue D and Clarendon.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I'll do is
Tonight's
I can read off the ones that we were looking into following the last meetings, and then if you guys have any to add, just let me know because I will compile a list. But we had New York Avenue between Clarendon Road and Avenue D, Clarendon Road between New York and East 34th Street, East 43rd Street between Foster and Farragut Road, East 96th Street between Rutland and Winthrop, East 34th Street between Farragut and Brooklyn Avenue. And now we're going to add the East 40th between Farragut and Glenwood, as well as Brooklyn between Avenue D and Clarendon.
I would like for you to add Troy between Foster and Farragut,
Okay.
and Farragut between East 45th and Troy. One thing that happens, Miss Cunningham, is that the Fazio brothers moves the vehicles before enforcement is finished. So if it finishes at 10 a.m., the cars will move back before by 9:30. If the sweepers come by at 9:30, they move the cars back. So if the sweepers want to come back again, they can't. So sweeping ends at 10 o'clock. So the first sweeper comes at 9:30, which is a good thing. Usually he doesn't, but if he does come at 9:30, and then he happens to have a second passing at, like, say, 9:45 or 9:50, there's another opportunity for a second passing because the cars are back. So something should be done about that because the Fazio brothers will put the cars back.
Okay, I'll add both blocks.
Thank you so much.
I have one more. He's in Paragot. Okay, I know they had cleaned up the trucks over there one time.
Wait, hold on, Mr.
now,
Tate. You East 42nd. I need you to repeat it for me one more time. East 42nd between what?
Paragot Road and Glenwood Road.
Okay.
It's mostly trucks, and I think that's clean at night. But those trucks, they have removed some trucks and they towed away some trucks a while back. And now there's some that came back in the second year, so no cleanup can be done. The garbage is piling up in the trucks.
Okay, I made a note of that block as well.
Ms.
Thank you.
Martinez, I see you have your hand up for a while.
Yes, I mentioned, I am not sure that the night cleaning that's supposed to go on around, on the East 57th Street and the Avenue D side of Harry May's Playground. I'm not sure that is really being done at all at night. And on Clarendon Road for the and right at Kings Highway, there's been a large white tractor trailer there for several days. Today was an alternate side cleaning day, and there was no enforcement either. And over there was not cleaned.
Clarendon Road at, you said Kings Highway?
Kings Highway between 56th and Kings Highway.
Ms. McCain Brown, see you have your hand raised?
Yes. In regards to the alternate side parking, is that 5-minute rule in effect, like 10:25 that begin to switch over? That's one question. And the other question is it a rule or an unwritten rule that once the sweeper has passed, you can move your cars? Because I'd like clarification on that based on what I see on my block also.
Okay, so let me chime in here regarding the alternate side parking situation. There is no specific rule. I mean, there was one they tried to do, but it failed. That right now you're supposed to actually move your vehicle for the duration of the hours you're supposed to move your vehicle. Because the broom passes once or maybe twice, that's an example. If you move your car there, right? If our broom comes back again, I'm making this up just to make an example of it. You can actually get cited for it. Now, but guess what? If you're in your vehicle, people get to move their cars, right? As they see us coming, they move their vehicle. It's a little bit tough we are hoping that on the state level, there is something they've been talking about for a while now, which we hope will come to fruition, that would allow the mechanical brooms to be able to do what MTA buses do. But that's not the law yet. So it's something that is being looked at very seriously. So it's an ongoing process for us. However, if we do not cite you, if you were to park your car and you leave your car, traffic actually will come, they will cite you, or we can actually cite you as well. Okay?
Yeah, that's the
I hope
thing
that
with
answers the question.
with
Yeah.
either with either agency. It's like, even if we have a rule, so for example, your first question with regard to the 5 minutes, that's not a hard and fast rule, but for the most part, for the supervisors that I know, even when I was out giving tickets, yes, I did try to give 5 minute grace period. But that is not something that is, necessarily a hard rule that you have to follow. Generally, it is to the discretion of the person giving the ticket. But for the most part, the supervisors, at least for sanitation, they do, try to adhere to that, and they provide 5 minutes of grace. But again, I don't know, how NYPD traffic does, who also has jurisdiction and are also able to give out tickets during alternate side parking as well, as whatever other infractions that they may see. So, it's always the sooner the better is essentially the best option. But for as far as sanitation supervisors are concerned, generally speaking, they do try to give 5 minutes grace.
Thank you.
I'd just like to piggyback on this and talk about my experience when I used to work for traffic enforcement. This was 17 years ago now, and I did that for 3.5 years. And what I was instructed to do was give that 5 minute grace period, and also in regards to whether or not someone could park on the street after the sweeper came through. We were told if we could see that the street was already cleaned and people moved their car back, not to give them a ticket. I don't know what's changed, if anything, over the last 17 years since I haven't been there, but that's what it was then.
But I think to the point you made, sir, valid. However, like I said earlier, there was a move to do what you just described. Legally, there's really no rule that says, if officers were to see you, you're not in your car, you park your car there, they can indeed cite you. But most of the time, do they do it? That's another question, right? Usually it's traffic, right? Our guys, they come, they sweep, move on to the next route. To the extent that traffic comes by, like you said earlier, and they notice that the car is empty, nobody's in the vehicle, they will give you a citation. So just to kind of make that clear, because my son has been a victim of it, so you learn the hard way. So.
All right. Not sure which order the hands were raised, but Mark, we'll go with you right now. See the hand raised?
Yes. Good evening. I just want to touch base on the part of the street sweeping between Snyder, on Utica between Snyder and I guess as far as Linden Boulevard. That area, of course, is more commercial, so I don't think that this, the cleanliness of that stretch in terms from the sanitation, I don't think it's really done. I know there's a lot of, cars, some cars are double parked there, but I don't know if there's a way they can enforce that these cars be, somehow moved and not be in the way when the street cleaner comes and, clean that stretch. It is very busy, and it, of course, is a a lot of commercial stores and stuff. But that stretch, it's not clean. It's really, it's not clean. And I do take that route, every day, Monday through Friday, and it's sore eyes. So I
Generally
don't know if
on
there's
Yeah, on larger commercial strips like that, it's generally a shorter window of time, usually 30 minutes, and it's, on less trafficked hours, so usually early in the morning. I don't know what that portion of Utica is. I can find out, but I know just as an example, Fulton Street, which is similar in terms of the amount of, cars and buses and, it's a
Mhm.
very heavy commercial strip. They had on the one side 7:30 a.m. to 8 o'clock, on the other side 8 o'clock to 8:30, and that is when the brooms used to pass. And although the brooms did pass every day, including Saturdays, if you were to walk down the block around maybe 12 noon, you may not could necessarily tell that the broom had in fact passed, just because of the amount of pedestrian traffic, foot traffic, the commercial businesses, the cabs, the whatever that is happening at that time. But like I will look into it, but I'm just saying I have seen where the street was being swept regularly, and just because of the sheer mass of people using that particular stretch, it it was hard to tell.
I mean, I leave like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I
Well, I
understand what
like
you're
I said,
saying.
I don't know I don't know what the regulations are there. I will check. But usually all of our commercial corridors, especially bus lanes, are generally addressed, even if it's on the midnight shift or like Broadway, which, another example of a very, very heavily trafficked area that is done every night on the midnight shift, in preparation for the next day. And it's usually swept twice, once closer to midnight and another closer to like 6 a.m. And so, again, not necessarily during times where people would visibly see it, but it is swept. So I will look into it.
So, okay, I get what you're saying, but it still doesn't, we're trying to keep the upkeep of the community clean. I mean, at least decent. And that is a heavy, trafficked area. But I'm just trying to figure out, what ways can we, make it look presentable. I mean, I work in the city. Trust me, the city is just as busy, and it doesn't be looking like the way our street, our Utica looks. So I don't know what they do in the city different to what we have, here in Brooklyn.
All right. Ms. Bennett, I see you had your hand raised for a minute.
Yes, I did. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what I was going to say in regards to the traffic enforcement, because there was never a rule or regulation in regards to the street sweeping, it was rescinded and they were ordered to write it, attended or unattended, as of 3 years back. Because people were not moving their cars, emergency vehicles could not get through, because if you had people move back or inside a single lane road, and then you had people still double park, nothing would get through. Also, sometimes the sweeper didn't come on time, but no, it was a courtesy, and it was Commissioner Tish at the time who rescinded it. She ordered to write by the time on the sign, no matter what, even if they're sitting in that car, because they're still impeding it. You got me?
I'm not so sure I quite understand. If I heard correctly,
Okay.
ma'am, please
They
forgive
were
me. Let me.
ordered to write the vehicles for the street cleaning by the sign on the time on the sign, because that is the legal law. No matter what people say, it was a courtesy that the public had abused for years about, oh, I'll move my car when I see the sweeper coming. Problem is, by the time the sweeper comes, they don't move, and they let the sweeper pass by, and people's blocks were not being properly cleaned. So now they're supposed to walk up to that car, if they choose to, and tell that person to move. If they do not move, they will receive a summons. Yes, they can get the summons in the car, because that is the stated law.
Okay, I think I understand now. I think I kind of addressed this earlier as well, and but it's noted what you've just said. I don't think anything has changed that much, if I may say it, this way. To the extent that the supervisor usually follows the mechanical broom ahead, and if you are in your car, they tell you to move your vehicle, and if you don't move your vehicle, you will get a summons. It's just I don't care if you're in it, they will give you a summons because you're not now following the instruction that was given by the officer. However, should something arise whereby the broom has come and has left the area, and you're in your car seated waiting on the 10 o'clock, right, to be able to leave the car unattended, so even traffic officers usually would not even, they look at you, they keep walking. As long as your documents, inspection, whatever is in order, they usually kind of walk away. I would have preferred, and I think this question really is more of a traffic enforcement one, in my opinion. So I'm not trying to punt it, but I'm saying it's something that I think traffic enforcement necessarily needs to engage to the extent that they can, right? Without it getting out of control. So if you get the point I'm making. But we right now do give people summonses. When we tell you to move, you don't move, you get summons. I don't, and that's just, that policy is still there. It's not really changed.
Like I said, it was a courtesy, and on the NYPD, they were ordered to write it irregardless. To ask you to move. It was a courtesy that the public abused. I should know.
Yes, understood. Yeah, understood.
I've been for 20 years.
Understood. Yes, ma'am. Understood what you've just said. PD. Unfortunately, we are the DSNY, and anyway. I hear you, ma'am. I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you.
Let's see, Ms. Martinez.
Yes. As far as Utica Avenue goes, it extends all the way past the library between Snyder and Tilden. I mean, even the residents there complain that those vehicles never move and the street is dirty. I mean, when you go to other neighborhoods like 7th Avenue, I've watched that sweeper go around 3-4 times and the vehicles are not there. But on Utica, it is just, it's a very horrible, dirty place, and it's clear that it's not swept at all.
Okay, so what we do, Teresa, is this. Tomorrow, I will speak to the borough about this and see, what's really going on in that location, and see what we can do that to, to get a bit more resources in there. So we'll take a look at it, ma'am. But please note that, and I know folks will not like when I say this, so forgive it. We don't have any kind of special road, right, where we have to continuously do certain things, right? Every road, every community is important to us. And the men and women that we have, as all of you know, are really hardworking men and women. They take pride in their work. To the extent that there's an area where clearly there's a chronic condition or problems, our own assurance to you and our commitment to you is that we are going to do all within our power, to ameliorate the situation. So we've heard from you, we've heard you, and we are going to do our best, to begin to do some stuff in that area as well, and then we go from there. I know your council member in the area put some additional money here and there, so I know we're going through that process now. And we are going to continue to encourage your member, I know my colleague has been in budget discussion with that office. It's still ongoing. And I do believe one of those things about street cleaning, MRPs and whatnot. So that's something that I know your member is very, very familiar with and she's very concerned about. So I'm hoping that this coming fiscal year will have a bit more resources. As you know, the mayor announced in his budget some additional funding for cleaning, across the city of New York. So we are optimistic that hopefully will help us as well to deal with these conditions as it arises.
All right. Thank you for that. Looks like we are running out of time. Only about 4 minutes left before they have to go. Did anyone else have anything else they wanted to add before they lose them? Well, there is just one thing that I would like to mention. I've heard quite a bit that Church Avenue and Utica, that entire area is constantly filthy. The businesses are using the sidewalks to cook their food, and they're just leaving it filthy. And like the whole area is a mess. Is that something that we can get looked at?
Yeah, I think if you say they are cooking their
Yeah.
food on the sidewalk, Teresa, are you familiar with this
I'm
location
familiar with
perchance?
the area. Yes, I am. I am. Mr. Hill, I was under the impression that there were I had spoke to Mr. Daly that you guys wanted to host some type of walkthrough or site visit or something like that. Is that still something that is going to take place?
Yeah, that was discussed. I'd have to follow up with Mr. Daly about it, but I can't confirm at this moment.
Okay.
So do us a favor, sir. Once you've decided, let us know. We'd love to come out. I'll come with Ms. Cunningham to take a look, and I'll bring some enforcement people with me as well when I come, so we can kind of have eyeball some of the challenges as has been described on that street. Okay, that I can commit to.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, I guess without further ado, I just want to thank you guys for showing up and giving us your time as always. Looks like this will be the Ms. Martinez. I see you have something you want to add.
Just have one question. I would like to know why, have you looked at Kings Highway and Church Avenue? I don't know. I got on a little late, so I don't know if anyone mentioned that. There's a man that he has a store on the corner of Kings Highway and Church that sells juice and smoothies and fruit. But the island in the middle where you're supposed to wait to cross the street is filled with watermelons. And
Yeah,
I don't think that's supposed to be there.
we talked about that. It's not there now.
Oh,
We had a fairly big operation over there, and we did mention it earlier, but we had like 6,000 pounds of food confiscated, and he got multiple citations. And we did encourage the community board to reach out to Department of Buildings and Health and even FDNY, because there was a lot of hazards just in that area, just because of the way that he illegally tried to extend the portion of his building. And so, like, we observed wiring and just exposed things that shouldn't necessarily be exposed, and just a lot of concerns in general in that area. But it is something that our team is aware of, and we do think that there probably needs to be an interagency effort um, over there.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Once again, wish you guys a good, safe summer. We won't be probably seeing each other again in this capacity for a little while. I just want to thank you guys for being here, and we will do this again in a couple of months.
Thank you very much for having us.
All
And
right, sounds good. Mhm.
yeah, thank you very much. You know how to reach Miss Cunningham, so you can always harass her.
Yeah, I like that word. I like that word. We'll have to do that.
And then she will harass me in return, so that's fine.
Sounds good. That's it. That's why we're here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Anything you need, we do our best to, to respond. Have a good evening, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We did it. We got them here before the summer came, and looks like we got some pretty good work done. Everybody good with how the meeting went with these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping they will follow up on that Utica Avenue yeah, I'm hopeful that they will follow up, because that Utica Avenue, it's a mess. It's definitely a mess.
It
And Ms.
stinks.
Hazel, I really thank you. Yeah. Ms. Martinez, I want to thank you for, yeah, bringing it up as well again, because it seemed like the first time they were like mute.
I've brought it up a few times because it's really, it
It's
it
bad, and
needs attention.
it really does. And I live around the corner from Utica, so I'm visibly, you see it every day. And I watch the street would come down the street and just go right around the cars and just keep it moving. No buzzing, no beeping, nothing. Just like, all right, like nothing.
I said it's disgusting.
Yeah, I'll have to follow up
It
with
is.
Mr. Daly about that Utica Church
That
Avenue situation.
Yeah, that walkthrough. Mm-hmm.
As he suggested, walk through, but with the Department of Health, Department of Buildings, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'll let them know.
Problem is, during the summer, they're going to go unchecked now.
I'm sorry, it was hard to hear you. What'd you say?
During the summer, when we recess, they're going to go unchecked.
Oh yeah, well, if there's any issues, just use that email and just send over anything that you guys see, and then I will definitely be in communication with Ms. Cunningham.
As Hazel said, the cooking on the sidewalk, it's not just nasty. The grease from all those grills goes onto the sidewalk. And if you're there early in the morning, in the wee hours, you're going to see rats coming to lick the drippings on the sidewalk. They come in hordes. Because I've been on a bus 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Look out, and what do you see? About 50, 60 rats all running around scurrying.
Wow.
So the rats are on the ground. What's going up into those grills at night and in the early morning? And people are eating off of.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It's filthy.
Well, I think that we did good today. We got a lot of information in and out, and I guess if there isn't anything more for us to say, maybe we'll conclude the meeting a little early tonight. And wish everyone a nice, healthy summer. And we'll be at the general board meeting this Wednesday, and we can take it from there.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Oh, but let's do a roll call first.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to suggest that.
Michael Hill, Sanitation Chair.
Vanessa Corsi, committee member.
Hazel Martinez, committee member.
Leonie Logan, committee member.
Marjorie Selcott, committee member.
Monica McCain, committee member.
Lydia Theron Robinson, committee member.
George Tate, committee member. And I do believe we have one more meeting before the summer is over. The summer, right?
Adele Bennett, committee member.
Edith Mark, committee member.
Wait, is June our last meeting?
I think so, Mr. Hill.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have
Yeah.
one more month.
Yes, June.
Oh,
June,
oh,
we have
oh,
one in June.
ah, okay. That's a little preemptive on my part.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, well, even with that said, we'll still conclude early. I don't think there's much more that we can do today. Was that everyone as far as the roll call goes? All right. Looks like that's it. That's everybody. If I can get someone to make a motion to adjourn.
Vanessa Quashie.
Leonie,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Miss Quashie.
Vanessa Quashie, it's 8:21 p.m. I nominate to adjourn this meeting.
Leonie Logan seconding.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much for being here and helping out with everything that we did today. And let's keep it going. Everyone have a great night.
Take care.
Okay.
And good
You.
night.
You.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.